Hello and welcome to the Let It Ride podcast, coming at you to preview week 4 in the NFL. Coming off of a 3-3 week 3, really looked like we were going to do a lot better than that. We got 2 wins in the early games with the Vikings taking care of business, covering the -3 with ease. We also gave out the over in that same game against the Bengals. The Vikings go over the total by themselves, so 2 pretty easy winners there. We had a loser on the early slate, giving out the Titans. Done taking the Titans, done fading Daniel Jones until further notice. So left the 1 o'clock slate at 2-1, and it really looked like we were going to have 2 winners with the Cowboys Bears over and with the 49ers -2.5 against the Cardinals. But that safety undoes us for the Cardinals. The Cardinals get a safety, so the 49ers come down, kick the game-winning field goal, only win that game by 1. When the game was tied, the 49ers had the ball. It really looked like, oh, okay, we're going to get the game-winning field goal, get a cover. The safety kind of screws the on that one for us. But then we go to that Cowboys game, and we just need 1 touchdown in the last 10 minutes. The Cowboys get down into the red zone twice, throw 2 interceptions in the end zone. So don't cash the over there. Don't cash the 49ers. That takes our 5 best bets down to 2-3. But we get a winner on the teaser of the week, which pushes us to 3-3. The Texans covered their teaser leg +7.5 if you tease that game up, and the Seahawks covered that leg as well. So finished the week 3-3, looking to improve on that. We really haven't had that monster 4-2, 5-1 week. Really looking to have that this week, and we are going to start with the London game. It is the Vikings taking on the Steelers. The Steelers, a 2.5 point underdog. This game in Dublin, the over under set at 41.5. And this is the second straight year that the Vikings will face Aaron Rodgers overseas. Last year, they played Aaron Rodgers on the Jets in a game that I believe was in London. 3 interceptions for Aaron Rodgers in that game, including a pick six. You look at the Vikings offense in that game. Their leading rusher had 30 yards. Sam Darnold was 15 for 31 for 179 yards. And they won that game. Now, I know you can't sit here and just say, oh, yeah, this Aaron Rodgers team is the same as the last one. But clearly, this Vikings defense does give him trouble. Like I said, picking him off 3 times last year. And the Steelers really got lucky last week to beat the Patriots. If they lost that game to the Patriots, I think you could see this line sitting more closer to a 4.5 type of game. But the Steelers got outgained 369 to 203. They gave up 29 carries for 119 yards on the ground to this Patriots team. I think this Vikings team is going to be able to run the ball all over the Steelers. I think this Vikings defense can get after Aaron Rodgers, who can't move. He really just has 2 throws in his repertoire. He can throw those quick outs, and he really loves those quick fades. You saw him throw the game-winning touchdown pass on one of those. So he really has those 2 balls, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't want to stay in the pocket. He doesn't want to get hit. 4 fumbles were the only reason that the Steelers were even close in that game, let alone winning it. If you take away those Patriots fumbles, the Steelers probably get blown out in that game, and this line is sitting way different. So I think this Vikings team, much better than the Steelers team. The Steelers defense, very overrated. I know they didn't give up a lot of points last week, but like I said, 4 fumbles for the Patriots. Not just 4 fumbles for the Patriots. They fumbled 4 times, and the Steelers recovered all 4 of them. So a lot of luck really going their way in that game. Like I said, they get outgained 369 to 203. Not high on the Steelers team. I am high on this Vikings team, especially with Carson Wentz. Really looked like the offense was more confident with him under center. I know the defense is really what got them going last week with the 2 defensive touchdowns, but this offense still looked much more competent under Carson Wentz. Really like this Vikings team. Vikings -2.5 to start our week in Dublin. That is going to move us on to the Eagles taking on the Bucks. The Bucks, a 3.5 point underdog at home. The over/under sitting at 43.5. And this Eagles run defense really did not play well last week. Give up 31 carries for 160 yards to the Rams, 5.2 yards per carry. And their offense really woke up in the second half of that game. This passing offense has been stagnant all year. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith hadn't done anything the first 3 weeks. Last week, they come in, get 19 targets, 14 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. This Bucks team on the other side have been really allowing a lot of receiving yards to running backs. You look at week 1, they gave up 6 catches for 100 yards to Bijan Robinson. Breece Hall and Allen combined for 6 catches for 49 yards in their matchup against the Jets. I think you could see a big Saquon receiving game. No Mike Evans, so that does concern you for this Bucks offense, but Emeka Egbuka really stepping up, looks like a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. Of course, Chris Godwin also has a chance to play, so I don't think you're going to see this Bucks receiving core hurt too much because they drafted Egbuka. So you can lose Evans, you get Godwin back, you have Egbuka as a clear number 1 target, and I think this Bucks receiving core is going to be just fine. You still have that Bucky Irving and Rashid White tandem in the backfield. This Eagles defense not as good as they were last year. And if you look at the last 7 games between the Eagles and Bucks, they are 5-2 to the over. So I'm taking the over 43.5 in this game. 44, a pretty key number in NFL totals. You could see a 24-20 final. Not a very high scoring game, but you're still going to be going over this total. So like the over 43.5 in this game. I like both offenses. I think both defenses are a little bit overrated. So we're taking the over 43.5 in this game. That is going to move us on to the Bears taking on the Raiders. The Raiders, a 1-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 48. And I really think we're overrating this Bears offense coming off of that game against the Cowboys. This Cowboys team that cannot defend the pass whatsoever. They have 5 to 6 busted coverages every game that lead to huge plays in the passing game for the opposing team. You look at this Raiders team, they're giving up 17.7 points per game. That is the 7th lowest. They did give up a huge running game to the Commanders last week, 32 carries for 201 yards, 41 points, but that was mostly on splash plays. They had a 60-yard run by McNichols. They had a punt return touchdown in that game as well. So you take away that 60-yard run, just 31 carries for 140 yards, which is just, kind of average. So I think this Raiders defense is a little bit better than we're giving them credit for. I think this total is sitting a little bit high. If you go back to the game that they played the Chargers, they held running backs to 16 carries for 52 yards. It's just over 3 yards per carry. So this Raiders run defense is really good. Like I said, they just got gouged for a couple of splash plays against the Commanders. You look at this Bears defense, they really clamped down on the Cowboys in the second half of that game. So I like the under 48 in this game. I think both of these defenses are a little bit better than we're giving them credit for. This total set pretty high, like the kind of total that you would see with two good offenses. I don't think these are two good offenses, and I think the defenses are at least above average. So we're going to take the under 48 in this game, as that is going to move us on, as I go through my notes here. That is going to move us on to the Jags and the 49ers. This is actually my best bet of the week. The 49ers, a 3-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 47.5. This total has hit 46.5 at some other books, but as of this morning, you can get 47.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Both of these defenses, top 5 in points per game allowed. The 49ers allow the 7th fewest yards per carry. I think this total is just set way too high. If you look at this Jags team, the Jags are 14th in points per game, but they've played the Bengals and the Panthers, two of the worst defenses in the league. So they're sitting middle of the pack in points per game, but they've played two really bad defenses. You would think a team that has just 3 games on their schedule so far, and they've played two of the worst defenses, they would rank a little bit higher. The Jags, 27th in the league, yards per pass attempt. This passing offense not working. This offensive line not very good. On the other side, the 49ers allow the 5th fewest yards per pass attempt. The Jags allow the 5th fewest yards per pass attempt. So both of these passing defenses are really good. The 49ers have had a lot of bulk passing, so they are actually first in the league in yards passing per game, but just 14th in yards per pass attempt. So I really think this passing offense getting a little bit overrated. And you think of this 49ers team, you just think of the 49ers in general, you think they're a running football team. They are actually 29th in yards per carry. They are not running the ball very effectively. Christian McCaffrey is having a good season, but most of what he's doing is out of the backfield. So I think both of these offenses a little bit overrated. Again, both of these defenses a little bit underrated. I'm taking the under 47.5 in this game. Now, my 5th play, I went back and forth. Ken could not really find a 5th best bet. So just like we did last week, we're going to run through the slate, talk about every game, and then at the end, we're going to come up with our 5th play. We have the Commanders taking on the Falcons. The Falcons are 1-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 45. Now, I think this Falcons team is getting a little bit dinged because they looked absolutely atrocious last week against the Panthers. I think we could just kind of chalk that up to just a look-ahead game. They were just looking past the Panthers. They just kind of got socked in the mouth, weren't ready for that game. I would take the Falcons +1, but don't really feel that strongly about it. The Saints taking on the Bills. The Bills are 16.5-point favorite in that game. The over-under sitting at 48. Now, I think the Bills might be the best team in the NFL. The Saints might be the worst, but 16.5 points, I just cannot recommend laying that many points. So if I had to play this game, I'd take the Saints, but again, not going to make this one of my 5 plays. The Browns taking on the Lions. The Lions now a 10-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 44.5. This line was sitting at 7.5 on Sunday night, and it's jumped 3 points with the way that the Lions looked against the Ravens on the road on Monday night. Now, I just, again, cannot advise taking a line after it's jumped 3 points. Add to that, The Lions coming off of a huge emotional win, a game they really got up for. Now they're playing on short rest, so just 6 days rest for them after playing on Monday night. Cannot advise laying double-digit points, even if it is to the Cleveland Browns. So staying away from this one as well. If I had to make a play, it'd be the Browns, but again, not going to make that one of my 5 plays. We have the Chargers taking on the Giants. The Giants, a 6-point underdog at home. The over/under sitting at 45.5. Really don't know what to make of Jackson Dart. Don't know what you're going to get from him. I have been advocating for the Giants to make the move to him, but until I see him play an NFL game, I'm not going to bet on or against them. We have the Titans taking on the Texans. The Texans, a 7-point favorite at home. The over/under sitting at 38.5. It's a super low total, and you're laying a touchdown. So the total sitting at 38.5. So laying 7 points in a game that we expect to be a rock fight. Every Texans game has gone way under the total this season. That is kind of baked in. So the fact that these Texans games are so low scoring is being baked into this total. That's why you're seeing it at 38.5. So if I had to make a play in this game, be the Titans +7. Just can't lay a touchdown in a game that's expected to be this low of a total. But I really can't give out one of these, either the side or the total, as one of my top 5 plays, just because I can't bet on the Titans again. I've swore off the Titans. I told you at the top of the podcast, not betting the Titans again. And the Texans, what have they shown us that they should be favored by 7 against anybody, especially a team that wins on defense? They could win this game by 4 or 5 points, and then all of a sudden, they're not covering that number. So staying away from this game as well. The Panthers taking on the Patriots. The Patriots, a 4.5-point favorite at home. The over under 42.5. I like the Patriots in this game. Not enough to make them one of my top 5 plays, but I feel like you're getting a discount based on how good the Panthers looked last week against the Falcons, and that the Patriots lost their game against the Steelers. But like I said, the Patriots really outplayed the Steelers in that game. They almost doubled them up in yardage. It was just those 4 fumbles, but is this fumbling thing going to be a recurring issue, or was it a blip on the radar? I don't want to bet on this game, just given what we don't know. Can the Patriots hold on to the ball? We'll wait and see. But again, staying away from this game. We have the Colts and the Rams, the Marshall Faulk Bowl. Can't fade Daniel Jones. Like the Rams -3.5, but again, like I said at the top of the podcast, I'm swearing off fading Daniel Jones until we finally see him turn back into a pumpkin. I know it's going to happen, but I'm not going to keep betting against this team every week, waiting for it to happen, and he just continues to bite me in the ass. So staying away from that game as well. We have the Ravens and the Chiefs. The Chiefs, a 2.5-point underdog at home. The over/under sitting at 48.5. 2 great teams. We are going to make the Chiefs a leg of the teaser of the week, so we'll give that out now before we give out our 5th play. The teaser of the week, we will take the Chiefs from +2.5 to +8.5. So you're getting the Chiefs +8.5 at home. We saw this a couple of weeks ago when they took on the Eagles. They were able to cover the leg against the Eagles, getting over a touchdown at home. So we're going to go back to that take the Chiefs +8.5. And we will take the Texans from -7 down to -1. Like I said, I do not want to lay the 7 points with the Texans, but I do feel fairly confident that they will get their first win of the season against the Titans. So the teaser of the week this week, we are teasing the Texans down to -1, teasing the Chiefs up to +8.5. We have 2 Monday night games this week. The Jets taking on the Dolphins. The Dolphins, a 2.5-point favorite at home. The over/under sitting at 45.5. Justin Fields practicing, but still in concussion protocol. Don't know what you're getting from this team. Don't know if you're getting him or Tyrod Taylor. Staying away from this game as well. The Bengals taking on the Broncos. The Broncos, a 7.5-point favorite at home. The over/under sitting at 44.5. The Bengals looked absolutely awful last week. I don't like fading a team that looked terrible the previous week. Teams that get blown out actually cover at like a 60% rate the following week. So don't want to. I just kind of want to stay away from that game as well. That's kind of why I want to stay away from Commanders Falcons too. If you wanted to ride that trend, teams that get blown out by 30 or more, covering 60% of the time, go ahead and parlay the Falcons and the Bengals. That might be a smart play, but I'm staying away from it myself. Cannot believe, excuse me, that I'm making this game my 5th best bet. If you had told me beginning of the week I was going to be on a Cowboys under, I would have told you were absolutely insane. But we have the Packers taking on my Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, a 7-point underdog at home. The over/under sitting at 47.5. I'm taking the under here. It is going to be my fifth play for the week. Now, you might say, how could you possibly take an under in a Cowboys game, especially given the stats that I gave out last week when I gave out the over in Cowboys Bears, just based on the Cowboys offense staying on the field going into last week. They were number one in third down conversions. They were also dead last in third down conversions allowed on the defensive side of the ball. But when you look at this game, the Packers top three in the league in yards per carry allowed and yards per pass attempt allowed. This Packers defense is sneakily one of the best in the NFL, really not getting the attention for it. The only thing really getting the attention is Micah Parsons. And Micah Parsons, I feel like, is going to tee off on this Cowboys offensive line, which is a little bit banged up. Their first round pick goes out, so they are shorthanded on the offensive line. But on the other side, this Packers offense has not looked very good. They have not gotten the passing game going. They're banged up in the receiving core. And if you look at this Cowboys defense, yes, they are historically bad, but everything they give up is in the passing game. So going up against a banged up receiving core, I think the Cowboys defense should be able to play pretty well. They are sneakily top 10 in yards per carry allowed. So this run defense, which was a huge problem last year, I know I've personally slammed the Cowboys for the Micah Parsons trade. I still don't think it was smart, but Kenny Clark has proven to really be a key part of fixing this run defense. Like I said, they're top 10 in yards per carry allowed. So the run defense is really good. This is the Packers offense that's leaned heavy on the run. We saw them really struggle against a Browns team last week that defends the run really well. So taking the under 47.5 here, I actually think this is going to be a low scoring game, believe it or not, even with this atrocious Cowboys defense. So the top 5 plays this week, a lot of totals, a lot of unders this week. We're taking the under 47.5 in Packers Cowboys. We are taking the under 47.5 in Jags 49ers. We are taking the under 48 in Bears Raiders. We are taking the over 43.5 in Eagles Bucks, and we are taking the Vikings -2.5 in Dublin. And the teaser of the week, we are teasing the Texans down to -1, teasing the Chiefs up to +8.5. That is going to do it for my picks and the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.